Welcome, Right Riders. Thank you so much for joining on today's live stream. If you're catching us on the replay, we're sorry we missed you, but thanks for showing up. So, whether you're self-publishing puzzle books, low-content journals, you're writing fiction or nonfiction books, selling books in person at trade shows, craft shows, and book signings is a great way to sell more books and to be everywhere that your readers are at. So today, I'm going to give some tips on how to make the most of these off-site venues. But first, let's see who's in the house. Let's see. I see a couple people in here. I don't know if they're lurking. Let's see. You guys want to throw in here? Just let me know you're here. Just say what's up. Come on. All right, looks like we got some lurkers. That's fine. That's fine. Okay, so first, I just want to start by answering the question why you would even want to do an in-person sales. And the truth is there's a handful of reasons that I've found. First and foremost, bigger profit margins. We all know that author copies are cheaper than regular buying them online. So by buying the author copies and buying in bulk, you can actually say, I've found that I make, instead of 60% profits, I actually get more like somewhere between 70 and up to 80% profits on the books that I sell in person. And a lot of that profit, the amount of profit I get, depends on what the author price was, obviously, and then how many I bought and what I sell them for. Number two, why you would want to do an in-person sale, and that is feedback from your readers. Even if they don't buy your book or books, you can find out from them what they like and, most importantly, what they don't like, so you can implement those, if necessary, in your next publications. Number three is I've actually found that by being personable and having that camaraderie between me and the reader, that I'm actually get a higher percentage of book reviews on Amazon. Now, one thing I will note, that when you try to get a book sale on Amazon in one of these in-person ones, obviously don't try to be too pushy, but do ask if they would be willing to give a review, but also ask them if they would be willing to comment in there and state how and where they got the particular book. Now, they don't necessarily have to give like the state or city, but just saying that they got it at a book signing or they got it at a craft fair, because on Amazon, any off-site sales that you have, basically anything that's a sale off of Amazon, is not going to show up as a verified purchase. So if you have them state that they got it at a trade show or a craft fair or a book signing, it gives more validity to the review itself. And this last one I'll cover later when I actually get through the tips, but it's great for marketing. It's great for marketing copy, as well as just to keep the buzz going about you and your book or books. Now, those are the reasons why you would want to do an in-person sale. But of course, the whole video is, what are the do's? Like, what should I do to make it better? And I will get into that. But first, again, I want to check out the chat. I've seen some people actually in here. Yo, Rody, how you doing? Dallas Artworks is in the house. Glad to see you here. I know I see some other people trickling in. What I want to do is I want to cover this topic fairly early on in the video, and then we'll get into some more chat. And if you guys have any questions, make sure you put them in there in the comments or in the chat itself. So, but this way, those people that want to just see a short part of the video, they can get the content, and then we'll handle the fun part, the Q&A and the chatting afterward. So, if you plan on doing a book signing, and again, this is, a lot of people think this is just for, if you're writing content books like fiction or nonfiction, and that's not true. Although you can use it for that, and book signings will probably be more aimed towards those type of people. But trade shows and craft fairs are great for puzzle books, low content, no content, all of that. I have sold all of it at different craft shows, trade shows, and even a couple book signings. So what are some tips on ways to make sure that I make it as successful as possible? Number one, you want to prepare ahead of time. You want to make sure that you have enough copies that of whatever book or books. I've, especially if I'm doing a trade show where I'm bringing my puzzle books or my craft or my no content, low content books, I'll have multiple books out there. So make sure that you have enough copies. Now, I'm not saying go out and buy 100 or 1,000 copies so you have a ton in your garage later. That's not realistic. No one wants to have, boxes and boxes of books in their attic or in their garage. That's one of the great things about print on demand. But you do want to make sure that you have enough copies that you think will sell. It's okay, believe it or not, if you do sell out of your books, and I'll cover that in a second. But you want to have enough there where you're at least gonna, if it's a 2-day event, you want to make sure you have enough to last you at least the first day. And obviously, your first time doing it, you're probably either going to greatly overestimate or you'll greatly underestimate, and that's fine. If you overestimate and you've got more books on hand, then you're just ready for your next in-person sale, and you can just plan more of them. If you run out, that's okay, because that leads me to the next one. Have a way to collect credit cards. A lot of people don't carry cash anymore. And so you want to make sure that you have a way to collect credit cards. Things like the Square. There are a lot of different tools that you can use, and most of them are free to begin with, and they'll just charge you a certain percentage of your sale itself. I would be interested if anybody uses anything other than the Square to collect credit cards. Let me know that in the chat and in the comments, because I'd love to see how many different ways that are out there. Square just happens to be one of the ones that's the most publicized as far as like commercials and things like that. Now, when you order your books, if you run out, have a way for people to buy your book right then and there. What do I mean by that? Have either a laptop or a tablet or something where you already have your book pulled up on Amazon or on your Facebook page or on your website or however you want them to buy it. Have it up on a laptop, a tablet, something where they can do it right then and there. You don't want to risk the chances of, I'll go home and I'll buy it, and then they'll forget or they just won't buy it. So have something right then and there in the heat of the moment. So it's another addition to the call to action. So if you have 25 books, when you sell the 24th one, you want to make sure that you always have a copy, even if it's your proof copy, for you that you don't sell. So you always have something to show to the potential buyer. And once they look at it and they decide they do want to buy it, let them know that that's the proof copy. That's not a clean copy. That's a used copy. However you want to word it to make it sound like you don't want this one. You want to get a brand new one. And then you show them like I said, the website, whatever you have up on your tablet or laptop to where they can buy it right then and there. Next, you want to have some kind of swag. You want to have, whether it's some coloring pages, like if you do a children's book or something like that, maybe you can take some of the pages and turn them into just line drawings and use those as different coloring pages. You don't have to have one for every page in the book, just maybe 1 or 2, possibly 3, and just make copies of them. You can go to your local office copy shop and they can print them out fairly cheap, or you can print them off your own computer. Other things that you can do is, if you're doing puzzle books, maybe just like I said with the children's books, take a few of the pages that are in there, or maybe ones that you didn't use but you still have, and you can print those up just so they can get kind of a feel. Make your table stand out. One thing that I've done in the past, like I said, I've done the coloring pages. I've done I've done I do tic-tac-toe games inside some of my puzzle books. So I've had tic-tac-toe pages out there, which is kind of fun to watch people just kind of interact right then and there. The other thing that, bookmarks are really, popular when it comes to authors and stuff like that. So include bookmarks, even a business card, something that they can take away, even if they don't buy your book, something that they can take away to remember you and your books. Next, have what I call a shtick. Have something that really makes your table stand out. One thing that I do when I'm at craft fairs and I'm selling my children's books is I have a bubble blower. It's a little bubble blower. It's automatic, runs on batteries, and it just attracts children. Children love bubbles, and so they want to know where these bubbles are coming from, and it attracts them to your table. Again, if you've got coloring pages to go along with it, then they're there. They stay there. While they're coloring or playing with the bubbles or whatever, then the parents are looking at your book. If you don't, if you're not doing children's books or something like that, let's see what else you can do. One thing that I do, my children's picture book, Mimi's Adventure, there's a red balloon, and it is a key character in the book. Though it doesn't talk, it's still the main point of the book. And so I always have red balloons at all of my author book signings and any in-person sale where I have that particular book. But if it's my other children's books, I'll have the bubble blower at least. So again, something to make your table and you as an author memorable. Let's see. Do giveaways. This is something that you can promote ahead of time on your social media. You can promote it, on if you're going to a specific site like a Barnes & Noble or something like that, you can see if they can promote it for you. Some kind of giveaway. It doesn't have to be a lot. But make sure that one of the key elements is you have to be present to win. That will ensure the better chances of people actually physically coming to the event. Anytime you're at a bookstore, regardless of how big or small it is, but especially the independent bookstores, the more people that you get in there, the lot more happier the owner is going to be, and the better your chances of them asking you to come back again. They're also going to promote it a lot more, especially if you've already done one there and you've had a lot of people in there. They're going to promote the heck out of it next time. So, again, do things like that where thinking outside the box and having giveaways or any kind of contest whatsoever. Even if it's just something as, a contest to come up with a title for your next book. But again, the winner has to be present to win. That's the key part to it. And one of the most important things that you can do to make it a success when you're doing these in-person venues is do enjoy it. It's nerve-wracking, the preparation for it. You're nervous, especially if it's your first time, but you're getting to meet your potential readers face to face. Enjoy that. Have someone with you that can take pictures, take videos, and things like that, because you can take that, as I was saying earlier, and you can use it as great marketing information for next time. You can include it in, like, if you've got a video or book signings or anything like that, photos, you can include that on all your social media. You can also include it on your Author Central page. There's a spot where you can actually post upcoming events, which you absolutely want to put it there. But also the videos, the pictures, whatever you take, there's actually a spot where you can put those photos and videos on your Author Central page. So when someone runs across your page, they can see what you've done in the past. And that will greatly increase your followership on Amazon, because people can actually follow you as an author on Amazon on the Author Central page. And then when they follow you, then the next time you publish a book and you put it on your Author Central page, they're going to get an alert saying that you've got a new book out. So that's a great way to, even though you may not be collecting their email address or anything like that, you're still getting them to follow you. So again, do not overestimate or underestimate the abilities of the Author Central page. And so absolutely have somebody there to take photos, take video, and just enjoy it, because like I said, it's really exciting. It's nerve-wracking at first. You're worried if no one's going to show up, and if you've done some of these things, like I said, like the giveaway, and you've posted on your social media and things like that, people will show up. But even if it's just one person, just like if you're collecting email addresses and you just have one email address, you want to make that one person feel as special as possible, because it's not every day that you actually get to meet face to face with your readers. And whoever it is, whether it's one person or 1,000 people, the more you interact with them and talk to them, the more you will make them feel special, the more memorable it'll be for them. And that's when you go from having a fan to a super fan. So I hope these have helped you out. I want to check out the chat real quick. I've seen it going a little crazy over here, which is great to see. If you have done in-person sales, whether it's a book signing or craft shows or trade shows or anything like that, let me know what you did, what your experience was. If you've got some tips that I didn't come up with, I'm sure you do. Let us all know this so we can all learn from each other. Okay, let's see who all is in the house. Click over here. Okay, so we've got Dallas Artworks. Had to be home for a repairman. Was able to catch me today. I'm so glad you were able to. I hope your repairs got done well. Dallas Artworks, thank you so much. Lalana Croft, hey, hi, it's good to see you here. I'm glad you're doing this. Some people have no idea how to prepare for or what to expect. Yes, that's absolutely true. I know I didn't. And the biggest fear, like I said, that I found was the fear that no one's going to show up. It's kind of the same fear that a lot of people have when they publish their first book. The fear that no one's going to read it, no one's going to care. So, like I said, it's whether you get one person there or 1,000 people there, just enjoy it, and know that your first, just like with your first book, your first time isn't going to go as smooth as it will the second time, and that's fine. We're all learning in every aspect that we do, whether it's self-publishing or outside of that. And in my opinion, the moment I stop learning something new, then that's when I need to reconsider what I'm doing. Let's see. Simon Shares is in the house. Glad to see you here. Now I want to read the book to find the significance of the red balloon. I will tell you, Lalana, it is extremely significant in that book. It's basically the driving factor. It is, the name of the book is Mimi's Adventure, and other than Mimi, the red balloon is probably the biggest character in the book. And that's all I'm going to tell you. Let's see. These are great ideas with bookmarks and such. Yes. A lot of people think of the bookmarks and, business cards and things like that. Try to, just like with everything else, try to make yourself a little different. One thing I do on my bookmarks is on the back, I actually put something in there that says, and I have a T-shirt that I created that says this too, but it's, like feed an author, leave a book review or something like that, something funny that they'll remember. Another thing I do with bookmarks is if I do an author visit with a classroom, which I've done, I actually will find out the names of all the students in the class before I go, and I will make personalized bookmarks. Basically, it's my normal bookmark, but I personalize it for each of them with their names, making sure that I spell them correctly. And that's one way that they're not going to get rid of those bookmarks nearly as quickly as they would if they were just a regular bookmark. So again, making them feel special, just like with the in-person book sales, making them feel special, making it stand out in their mind, because when people have a bad experience or a great experience, they will tell other people. Let's see. Love the bubble idea. Yeah, Lalana. I actually suggested this in one of my groups. An author did come back and brought up a really good point, and that is, obviously you want to make sure that when you go before you go to the venue, that you talk to them and tell them what you plan on doing, that you plan on bringing, a bubble blower, and is that okay? So it's not, you don't have it there and then get in trouble or anything like that. I know when you do craft fairs, sometimes the person to the left or to the right of you may not be as nice as you wish they were. And so I've had the bubble blower up and been asked to take it down or told to take it down, or someone complained, and that's fine. it's you just try to address that as quickly and as politely as we can. But you're going to run into those type of people. But the bubble blower is one thing that I've found. The only thing that I would say as a caveat is to make sure it brings over the child and the parent. If a child comes over by themselves, you just want to make sure that you say, hey, great to see you. Where's your mom or dad? Or whoever. Someone with you. Let them play with the bubbles too. Just something like that. Obviously you don't tell them you don't want them there without an adult, but you basically politely say, hey, bring them over and they can have fun too. Because let's be honest, the kid's not the one buying the books, the parents are. Daybreak shows often need interesting local things to discuss. We I'm not quite sure I followed that, Rhodey, but yeah, I mean, if you have ideas for other videos, let me know. Be glad to consider them. As far as ideas on where to find author visits or where to find craft shows and stuff like that, you can actually just honestly you can Google local fairs around, and then whatever the big city is around you. You can also check with your city hall, and they'll probably be able to direct you, if they don't already know, where you can go to find local within your city. If you write children's books, then one of the biggest places that I go, especially to do an author visit, is I'll actually call the local elementary schools or middle schools, junior high, high schools, depending on what type of books you write. A lot of people, like I write children's books, is one of the genres that I write in, and I've had librarian ask me to do an author visit to the kindergartners, and that's great, and I'm more than happy to do that. But one thing that people have a tendency, including educators, have a tendency to overlook is how much you as an author can help the older age group, like fifth graders or whatever, learn. They're learning about writing and writing stories and stuff like that, and get them interested in writing at an early age and doing it a little differently than the other schools. So that's one thing to consider, is even if you write, and if you're any kind of fiction, any kind of nonfiction, if you're an author, you can help and make suggestions and teach older groups as well. So when you call an elementary school because you write children's books, don't just think that you have to only focus on the kindergartners. Be sure to suggest, or at least ask about, are any of the fourth or fifth grade classes you think would be interested in learning how to write a book, how to publish a book, whatever. A lot of people don't know this, but on KDP you can be a minor and still have a book published. You just have to have someone over the 18 or older to actually have the account, but the author doesn't have to be an adult. So that's something a lot of people don't know, but I've verified with KDP, and that's absolutely, it's absolutely acceptable. So think about the older groups, the older ages. I've actually done classes or visits where I've sat down with a class and we've written a book right there. Obviously, it's not a big long fiction book, but we've written it together as a class. And when they left, I've had teachers and even parents come up to me and say that that was the most excited they've been about school in years, or sometimes ever. So again, always thinking outside the box, always thinking of ways that you can positively affect another human being, whether it's a child, an adult, whatever. Okay. I remember someone selling their kids' books, and he had stuffed animals out of the... Yes, kids saw them and were instantly drawn to the table. That's absolutely correct, Dallas Artworks. I have seen that. I have quite a few people on my Facebook group that have said that as well. The only complaint I've ever heard about the stuffed animals is sometimes they have a tendency to walk away, I guess is a polite way to put it. So if you have something like that, you definitely want to make sure you have at least one helper, maybe two, to kind of keep an eye on those kind of things. And you should probably prepare ahead of time for, if someone starts walking off with this, how do I want to address it? That way you're more proactive and you address it in a more positive way. Human nature, if someone's stealing from you, if you will, you automatically get defensive, and you may come off more hostile than you planned on. So if you plan ahead of time how you're going to react to it, it's going to be a much better and a much more positive interaction. Don't forget to bring your. Let's see what's this. Most communities also have a calendar of events. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, and you can. Good point, Rody. You can try to get your appearance listed on the calendar of events. Yeah, and you want to plan ahead anyway, because depending on KDP or whoever your print on demand company is, I mean, it may take a while for you to get the shipment in. I know I've heard that Ingram Spark has a tendency, when you buy in bulk, to take forever. And when I say forever, I've heard people up to like 3 or 4 weeks before they get the shipments. I don't know. I've never had anything published through Ingram Spark yet. But those are some things that I've heard of. So you want to make sure you plan as far ahead of time as possible. Okay, let's see. Don't forget to bring your sports dog. A decent petting is long enough to quick pitch. Yeah, that's true. That's true. If you're allowed to have an animals there, yeah, bringing a friendly dog is a great way to just draw attention from by children. Again, just like the bubbles and everything else. But I don't have to clean up after the bubbles too much. Whereas a dog, I may. Daybreak shows have guests that are doing stuff. Okay. Walker Publications, glad to see you in the house. All rodeos have vendors with crafts. Depending on your book, lots of sales potential, especially books. Yeah, absolutely. That's it's kind of like, as anybody who's watched this channel for a while, you know that my family's really into softball, so I have quite a bit of softball journals, and I have a softball novel and things like that. And yeah, I go to softball tournaments, and I've got my little table up there, and that's where I sell a lot of my books. They sell pretty well online, but in person, those things go right off the shelves. That's where actually I got the idea about having the laptop or the tablet with your sales page already up, because I've run out quite a few times, and then I've noticed the next day, I'm like, I didn't get any spike in online sales even after I ran out. So that's when I decided to start, having something there where they can buy it right then and there. Now, and don't get me wrong, not everybody's going to be comfortable doing that, and that's fine. But it's at least an option to where they can, if they really want to buy it, like, they can do it right then and there, and it's not going to cost them any more. Obviously shipping may, depending on if they have Prime or something like that, but that's one way, like I said, to better your chances of getting sales if you've run out, and then the next time you know how many more books you should buy. Lalana, gotta run. Have to catch the rest later. Thanks, Keith. Yeah, absolutely. Glad that you came here, Lalana. Make sure that if you like this, make sure you give it a like, thumbs up. Also, be sure to share it. Sharing is caring. Be sure to share it with your friends. Looks like Rhodey's leaving. Anybody have any questions or suggestions on other ways that you can interact with and make the most of in-person sales? I'd love to hear about them. Drop them in the comments if you're catching this on the replay. Also, if you want to better your chances of selling more books on Amazon, then check out my video on making the most of the Look Inside feature. If you haven't already seen that video, I'll include a link to it in the description below. And also, if you haven't already, you probably want to catch my video on how to get your books including puzzle books and even no content, low content books in physical bookstores. The tips that I give in there, that video works for all of them because I've done it. So if I don't have any more questions, until next time, I'm Keith Wheeler, and remember to write right.